Hey guys, it's Kevin and this is my review for Glee Season 6, Episode 8, A Wedding. And this episode I could not wait for this episode. Everyone I know was looking forward to this episode. Out of any episode, I think this was probably the one everyone was looking forward to the most. Because, how much have we wanted these weddings? How much have we wanted for these two couples to get married? And I was so excited to see this episode, and I have to say, by far the best episode of the season. This episode was perfect. Now, I will say, my only thing that I did not like about this episode is that some of the storylines took a little bit of a back seat this week. I understood why they did that, because they wanted to focus on their weddings, but Rachel has no dialogue. There's no, Rachel-Sam interact. There's really no big scenes with anyone except for a few people, which I actually kind of liked because it focused more on a few characters, which didn't feel like they were just cramming things in. And this episode definitely did not feel like they were cramming things in. And I thought this episode was absolutely amazing. And I really want to talk about it. There were so many great things about this episode, so many funny moments, a lot of dramatic moments. It originally was supposed to be Santana and Brittany's last episode, but now I hear that they're coming back for the finale, so I guess that's not a thing anymore. But if it is their last episode, I think that's a good way to end it, but I don't think it is their last episode. So let's just get into this episode because it was fantastic. So we start off and we see Brittany's mom, Whitney, talking to her and Santana, and she opens up the barn doors, and she wants Brittany and Santana to get married in the barn that Brittany was born in. And I understand why she wants to get married there. I mean, I'm all for it doesn't matter where you get married, it's how you get married. I'm all for that, but seriously, a barn? It's ridiculous. She wants to get married in a barn, and there's no way that I'm like, there's no way they're gonna get married in a barn. I have to say, I did not really like Whitney Pierce in the episode before, in What the World Needs Now, but I really thought she was hilarious in this episode. She's totally the mother that, I don't want to say is, protective, but, she really is very sentimental, and I thought she was really funny with that. And it definitely seems like something that Brittany's mother would do, especially something that Brittany's mother would do. And I thought that was a really funny way to start the episode. And Brittany is pretty much panicking when the wedding preparation is building. And, she's really panicking about this. And basically the ladies are they get their wedding dress shopping. And Brittany is continuing to panic. She's really going through a hard time there, panicking. And we see Kurt and Bert again. And Bert's going to the wedding as well because Bert is going to give is going to be the one giving the ceremony, basically being the minister, because of course it is a lesbian wedding, and if you guys know anything, is that a priest cannot marry gay and lesbians. That's how it works. That a priest cannot marry them. So Bert is going to be marrying Santana and Brittany, and I thought that was really cool to see. I love seeing Bert again. Everyone loves Bert's character, and it was great to see him again. I thought that was a great way to bring Bert back. But then we get into the real plot of this episode, which I really liked seeing. I thought this was really well done overall. Because Sue is really upset with Santana, because Santana does not want to invite Sue to her wedding. And it's understandable why. I mean, Sue was never really nice to them. She always made them, she always relied on them to go back to the Cheerios. She always relied on them to spy for the Glee Club. She really was never really that nice to them. Even when she did have nice moments, recently she's been really mean to them, and I can understand why Santana does not want to invite her to her wedding. But I have to say, Sue redeemed herself in this episode, definitely. I think she really redeemed herself, and it was great to see. Because, I really was not a fan of the Sue we saw in the Hurt Locker. The Sue we saw in this episode, that is the kind of Sue I want to see in this show. Not the Sue we saw in Hurt Locker. So Sue's really upset about this. She's trying Santana. She's not going to get away. She's going to show up at the wedding somehow. And I'm just like, no, there's no way you're going to show up at the wedding. It's not going to work out. And basically, yeah, so that's what's going on there. So Kurt and Walter are talking, and I loved this scene. This was so well done. It felt just as real as Blaine and Dave last week. It really did feel, actually, I think, a little bit more real than that one, which Blaine and Dave did really feel real last week, but this also felt really real, and that's one of the things I loved about this scene. because Blaine and Kurt and Walter are talking, and Walter can tell that Kurt really does not want to be with him, and Kurt really just wants to go back to Blaine. And we get this whole monologue of Kurt saying when he has something to do, he needs to do it. You see him run. You see this whole montage of him running. It's about the sweetest scene you could ever get of Kurt and Blaine, and it was adorable to see. I have to say, I really do love. I've said this before, guys. I love Kurt and Blaine together. I think they are fantastic as a couple. I know some people think that Blaine is not good for Kurt and things like that, but this episode really proves that no, those two belong together and they need to be together. And I think this episode really proved that yeah, they really do need to be here, and they are the real heart and soul of Glee. And just when Kurt goes back to Blaine, they kiss, and it's such a well done scene. I thought the way they handled that whole scene was fantastic. I love that scene. I thought that was great to see. I love seeing that, and basically they're back together after that. And I like that they're just like so spontaneous about it, because I mean that's totally something Kurt and Blaine would do. Plus the fact that they love each other so much, why not just go for it? I understand that. I'm all for just why not just go for it? I thought that was a great way to start it, and I definitely really enjoyed that. I thought that was fantastic. And so, yeah, I love seeing her and Blaine get back together. By far, one of the highlights of the episode was their little reunion. So now let's get to the thing that was, like, weird in this episode. I mean, the thing that I was looking forward to in this episode was this storyline, because I don't think this character's had enough this season. We see Tina is back, and Tina has a plan on what she wants to do at this wedding. She wants to propose to Mike. She's talking to Puck, Blaine, and Artie, and, Puck is, like, skeptical about it, but he wants her to go through with it. Blaine is 100%, yeah, you should go through with it. I think it's a great idea. But Artie's really skeptical about it, and you can definitely tell why. It's not, and I think there are a couple of reasons why Artie's skeptical. First of all, you can tell that he's kind of jealous of Tina, because he doesn't really have anyone, and plus, she literally just mentioned Mike Chang. She hasn't seen him all this time. But I did like seeing her remember Mike Chang, because I really did like them together, I have to say. So it was nice to see her remember Mike. Plus the fact that we haven't seen Mike in a very long time. The last time we saw Mike, I think, was like the last episode before before they switched to New York. I think that was the last time we actually saw Mike's character. So I really like seeing this storyline with Tina. And basically, I didn't really know what was going to happen there, but that was definitely really interesting. So, Sue then calls Santana to her office and shows interest in wanting to attend her wedding, but Santana's having nothing of it. She wants nothing to do with it, and the gang is then enjoying the scenery of the farm. They're thinking about possibly getting married in that farm, and Tina is starting to flirt with Mike, and I do have to say, I did like seeing Tina and Mike flirting, and Bert and Carol giving Kurt and Blaine perspectives, and Brittany continues to panic. Santana's giving her some really great talk, and of course, Sue ends up crashing the wedding. That's really not a shock. I knew Sue was going to crash the wedding. I thought that was a really good scene, though, when Sue crashed the wedding. It really was funny. I enjoyed that overall. And the other thing I like about this episode is that the past big wedding episode that we had was just, it ended in disaster, and this one actually ended in them getting married, which was great. I have to say, this was so much better than I do, and it was better than both those episodes, because this episode was just, it was more realistic, and it was just more well done. So, then Sue redeems herself in the scene. This is the scene where Sue redeems herself, and Sue basically makes us realize why we should still care about her. And these are little moments that Sue has. This is when I love her character, when Sue does stuff like this. Because Sue, when Santana said no, she knew what she had to do. She gave her abuela some reverse psychology. Alma. And she knocked on Alma's door, and she told Alma straight up that this is her granddaughter's wedding, and that she should be there for her, and that's true love. And she got Alma to finally come to the wedding, and just seeing that happening was so great to see. Santana has this huge smile on her face, and it's so great to see that Alma finally finally approves of Santana and Brittany. And I knew it was coming, because I knew that she shows up in the episode, and it was great to see her in the episode, and I love that Sue did that. I mean, I never expected Sue to do something like that, but I absolutely love that, and I thought that was so well done. And then we get to one of the funniest scenes of the episode by far. Absolutely love this. We see Sue going up to Kurt and Blaine. I'm like, oh no, please, no more scheming. She calls them Klain, and they are like, we want nothing to do with you. We just got back together. Please don't do anything weird to us. But she tells them that she's not there. She's not the one that initially set this up. She's not the ones that want to call them over. And I thought this was a really well done scene. And one of the things I liked is that this wasn't Kurt and Blaine's decision. It was more Brittany and Santana's decision. I thought this was really funny, actually. Brittany says that she has a wish, and Santana says how she's like the godfather, and basically won't let, and basically whatever Brittany wishes, she will let her do. And she wants Blaine and Kurt to get married beside them because it's been one of Brittany's dreams. And to hear that, I thought was really interesting, and I absolutely love that Brittany said that. By far, one of my favorite parts of the episode was just hearing Brittany say that. That was so well done. And it looks like it looked like they were getting married, and just, you can see the look on, you can see, I mean, I was paying attention to how they were reacting, because they don't seem worried, because they are together now, they're being spontaneous, but they know that they can be together, and that they do truly love each other, and that what happened before is not going to happen again, and I thought that was just really well done. So then we get to the wedding scene, which was absolutely beautiful. I do have to admit, though, guys, the songs in this episode were kind of lackluster. I listened to the songs this week. I'm not a huge fan of most of them. I think the songs that they chose were really good, but they weren't amazing. And some of the songs I kind of questioned. Not At Last. At Last was beautifully done. Artie and Mercedes are singing it, and we see Santana entering with Blaine, and Brittany enters with Kurt, and it's just such a beautiful scene, because it's like, finally these two, all their life, this is what they've wanted. They've wanted to get married. They've wanted people to see them. They want to have a traditional wedding, and finally they can have it, and you just feel so happy for them. It really just shows how much these characters have grown since then. It really feels like we have come full circle with these characters, and that is one of the things I absolutely loved about this episode, is how much it felt like we have come full circle with them. It didn't feel like, oh, we're just doing this because we want to shove gay marriage down your throats. And a lot of people say that Glee does that. I will admit Glee has a tendency to do that, and sometimes it can get annoying when they try to shove a message down your throat, but that's not what this was doing. This was showing that this is a goal these two couples have wanted to have all their lives, and they're finally getting it, and that's why we should be happy for them, and I thought that was great. So they get married, and Bert introduces the couples, and at first, he is completely speechless that Kurt and Blaine are about to get married, and he almost doesn't say the vows correctly, and he basically, their love is exchanged, and I love what they said to each other individually, that they love each other and everything, and it was just such a beautiful scene. Then both couples get married, and they're now officially married, and that was such a well-done scene. I absolutely loved seeing the two couples get married. It was so well done. And then we get to the reception, and this was hilarious. I love this. We see Pierce, of course, Brittany's, well, her stepfather, because her real father, Stephen Hawking and everything. I don't want to talk about how stupid that was. I really don't care. He is trying to give the best man speech, but he's giving a terrible speech, and not best man speech, but he's trying to give the traditional father speech, and he's giving a horrible speech, and he's probably drunk, and I love that Whitney's literally like to him, I'm gonna punch you in the face, you're doing a terrible job, you're the only person who looks terrible naked. I thought that was hilarious to see. Their whole interaction was so funny. I didn't really buy them as a couple in the first episode we saw them, but this one, oh yeah, I totally bought them as a couple. I thought that they were hilarious in this episode. Some of their scenes just had me cracking up hysterically, and seeing him just screw up his wedding speech was hilarious to watch. I absolutely loved that, and that was so funny. I love seeing Pierce screw up. That was hilarious to see. So basically, that screws up, but Artie fixes it by performing the song Hey Ya, which I like that song overall. I just didn't feel like, I mean, I could see why you have it at a wedding, but there was something missing from that song. I feel like more people should have sang it besides Artie. I just feel like there should have been more to it. And I liked it overall. I just felt like there should have been more to that song. I love seeing Jane and Madison back up Artie. And one of the things I do like about Jane and Madison is that apparently next week we're going to start to see a lot more focus on them. I'm going to talk about that when we get to the promo. But I really did like seeing that. Even Jane and Madison are in the wedding. And one of the things I do like about Glee this season, and a lot of people have said this, that dynamic feels very different between the newbies and the originals. I mean, the newbies feel like they're just a new part of the group, and that's how the others should have felt. The problem with Marley and Jake and Ryder and Unique and Kitty, well, not Unique and Kitty, but those three, is they felt dislocated. They felt like they were a whole different group, and they didn't feel like they were a part of the group at all. This just feels like an extended family, and I love to see that. I thought that was fantastic, and I absolutely love that. So then we see Tina, and Mike goes up to her, and she feels kind of rejected. And I like what Mike says to her, though. I knew that he wasn't going to go through with it, because, I mean, they haven't seen each other in a while, but I like what he does tell her. She talking about how she doesn't want to be with anyone but him, and how she wants to be with him for the rest of their life. And he says to her to think about it, and basically tells her that, yeah, he does want to be with her, but they need to, maybe in 5 years or so they will get married, but they can take their time. And I like that Mike said that, because I mean, even though Blaine and Kurt were so spontaneous, that was because it's taking them forever to get married. But Tina and Mike, they have so much time to get married, and I like that Mike tells her that he really does love her, and he's always loved her, and he even tells her that he gives her a kiss, and he asks her to dance, and I thought that was a really solid scene. I really did enjoy seeing Tina and Mike together in this episode. So, after this, we get probably my favorite song of the episode. I loved this. This was awesome. The mothers of the brides and the grooms lead. I'm so excited. And we see Sugar was back as well. Nothing really too much with her. That was really one of my only things. I would have wanted to see a little bit more with Sugar's character, because she was back and we didn't really get a reason why she was back, except that she's back for their wedding. But it was cool to see her again, because we had like a Trouble Tones reunion. And I say, I'm so excited. It was such a fun performance. I absolutely loved it. It totally felt like something you'd see at a wedding. It was awesome to see, and just, that is what I picture when I picture an ideal Glee wedding. That was awesome. And out of all 4 songs, that was the one I've listened to the most this week. Because I'm going to talk about the last song, and I'm just going to say it right now, guys. The last song of this episode might be my least favorite song of the season. I'm going to talk about why it's my least favorite song of the season. But that was great, and that was just, I loved their performance. So after this, the bride and, Kurt and Blaine and Brittany and Santana, they sing this song called Our Day Will Come. Now, I understand the point of that song, but I didn't like it. And I think here's the problem. It just didn't feel like that should have been the final song that we're getting from. I mean, they just got married, and it did not feel like a song you sing after you get married. It really did not feel like that to me. I heard people say they should have sang Without Love from Hairspray. I totally agree. That would have been perfect for them. A whole point of that song is accepting love between people that you don't really think should be together but are together. That's totally what these couples are, and they should have sang that, but I don't know why they didn't, but for whatever reason, they did not sing that song. I feel like they should have definitely sang, they should have definitely done a performance of Without Love, because I thought Our Day Will Come was completely out of place. I will admit, it was a beautiful scene between the two couples. If it had not been that song, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But I will have to say, guys, that song, I think, it was very out of place, and while it was a very well done duet, I just didn't really like the performance overall, because I didn't really like the song. I didn't see the point of that song being in the episode. Now, don't get me wrong, they really sounded good, but I just didn't really like it overall. I didn't like the way it was done, and a lot of people also said they don't like that Brittany is constantly backing up to Santana. I agree. I would have wanted them to have their own individual parts. And in a song like Without Love, you could have done that. But the problem is Our Day Will Come is just too safe, and I just didn't really think that it was the right song for them. But whatever. I thought it was a good scene overall. And basically that's what happens at the wedding. So Artie then invites Tina back to the choir room, and this was so good. This really felt like season 1 again. I don't think we've seen Artie and Tina really this close since season 1, but this is what happens when you see people that you see in high school so much, that you start to develop feelings from again, or that you start to, think of things that happened to you guys when you were younger. And Artie tells Tina that the reason that he doesn't want her to go through this is because he truly does care about her and he truly does love her. And I thought that was great to see. I mean, he's really being sweet to her and everything. And he invites her to their old Tuesday lunch. They even talk about why they broke up. And she's like, I didn't break up with you because of your stutter. I thought that was really funny to see. And he told her how he would have never broken up with her. Because, I mean, we didn't really get a reason why they broke up, really. I mean, she broke up with him because of Mike Chain. We know that. But he did break up with her for a short period of time because she faked the stutter. But I like that, what Artie says to her, and this was great to see. He tells her that if they are 30 and both of them are single, that he is going to marry her, and that was hilarious. That was great to see. Tina has this huge smile on her face, and I want to see it happen. I gotta say that, guys. I want to see Tina and Artie back together. While I do want to see Artie and Kitty happen, Tina and Artie is more realistic, definitely. They've been hinting at Kitty and Artie, but I think that those two are just really good friends, and I think Tina and Artie are also really good friends. I don't really need to see them together, but I thought that was really good closure overall, especially because a lot of people have said we didn't get enough of that relationship, and I have to agree. I mean, Tina is sidelined a lot, and it was cool to see her for once not sidelined, and I really enjoyed that. And the end of the episode, this I just loved. Sue talks to both of the couples in the choir room, and they say to her how they were happy that she was at their wedding and everything, but she tells them that she's not done yet because she gives them presents for their honeymoons, and it's really cool stuff. They're all really happy about it, and I love the way the episode ends. Santana and Brittany tells Kurt and Blaine that they are now team. They're in this together because they both got married in the same day, and that they're always going to celebrate their anniversaries together. It just really solidifies what Glee is all about, being together, being with your family, and that's basically how the episode ends. And I gotta say, I couldn't have asked for a more perfect wedding episode. I really couldn't have. I think this episode was perfect. I really had no problems with it, except for I wish some of the characters weren't as sidelined as they were. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't think Rachel would be a sideline. She had no dialogue or anything tonight. This is the least amount I think we've seen from Rachel in a very long time, but I will talk about next week, which next week looks, some parts of it look bad, but I will say one of the things that I do like next week is that we're going to start to see more of the newbies, and I'm very happy about that because I love Madison and Mason and Jane and Spencer and I love all of them, and Kitty and Roderick. I really love all their characters, so we're going to start to see more of them. We're going to start to see more of their characters, and from what they said, we're really going to care about them a lot more. I mean, I already care about them, but we're going to care about them a lot more, which I'm looking forward to. And it looks like next week they're really going to start preparing for sectionals. Now, I know some people said it's going to feel rushed, but we have 4 episodes left, so they have 4 episodes to prepare for sectionals, and I think that's well done overall. I mean, they have 13 episodes, so they don't really have as much time to do it as they did in the other seasons, so that's why it's kind of sped up this way. But I like it. I think it's well done overall. I'm looking forward to seeing how sectionals ends up going. I definitely think it's going to be a really fun episode. I mean, Sue and Will apparently are going to be competing against each other again, which I'm looking forward to. But I kind of want to see a Sue-Will pair up like we did in Season 3. This episode really made me realize I want to see the old Sue back. I really like the side of Sue we saw in this episode. If Sue stays this way throughout the rest of the season, I'll be fine. If she's like how she is in the Hurt Locker, I don't know how I'm going to be. She seems like she's not as crazy as she was. It seems like she's kind of toned down, which I hope they keep doing because I like a toned down version of Sue. Don't get me wrong, I think she's very funny at times, but I really want to see a more toned down version of Sue, and that's really the version of Sue that I personally love. But let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, guys, I absolutely love this episode. By far the best episode of the season. Everything felt real about this episode. The weddings didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like it was just... Oh, also, I love that they talked about OTPs and, like, how they talked about what OTP meant. And because, I mean, this is something that fandoms have wanted. I mean, the Klain fandom and the Britannia fandom was going crazy. I've said this before, guys. I am not part of any of those fandoms. I just really love this show, and I will support whoever the show wants me to support. That's just how I am with Glee. And I'm never really into fandoms or fan fictions or anything. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. But I will support couples if I really want. And I love Brittany and Santana. I love Kurt and Blaine. So it was great to see them back together. And it was great to see them get married and finally do what they've always wanted to do their whole life. And that was great to see. But that's my review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for a movie review. So I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.